everybody. Well, we're back with another Frequently Asked Questions Friday, and you've probably guessed that this guitar is our guitar of the week. I own, I think 4 of these. 2 like this, one with a trem, a green Strat version, and a red one with super slinky neck that's like got a, what's it called? A Floyd Rose on it. So I've got all kinds of this. This particular one is my go-to guitar. If you've been watching the channel for any length of time, you'll notice like the first couple of videos I ever did, like I did a Focusrite studio bundle. I remember doing that video like 6 years ago now, and I think I paid to have it shipped to me and back to review it. Those were the days. Now they'll at least pay for the shipping. But anyway, this was the guitar I used in that video. It still gets used. It's absolutely phenomenal. The model number it's a 811, whatever that is. I think they're like $600 or $700, and they do cheaper ones and they do more expensive ones. It's a daily driver. It's a guitar we use all the time. So it's slinky. It's got loads of tone variations. If I turn off any drive here, for instance, here's. I'm not a professional YouTube guitar player, or else I would do that 55 times and get it right. But it's just a great, great sounding guitar. It's just, I've got pretty heavy strings on it. It's a 52 here. But it just feels great. There's a P100 in the front, just a beautiful neck pickup. You can pick these up used for a few $100s. Highly recommend them. Bit of drive. The thing is I love about these guitars is it's Seymour Duncan pickups. It's a Wilkinson bridge. It is Grover machine heads. You know, I've often said, and it's solid wood, and it's built by Yamaha in their own factories. It's not farmed out. When I was a kid, you know, we're talking 80s. When I was a kid in the 80s and you were looking at guitars in guitar stores, and I've said this many times, so I'm in danger of repeating myself again and again. Yamaha were one of the only options. This is pre-Ibanez, late 80s with, you know, the gem and the shredding guitars. You know, in the early 80s, there was like Yamaha basses and Yamaha electric guitars. And I've always had an affinity with them because in the guitar stores that I grew up in, it was either Fender and Gibson and completely unaffordable, or Yamaha were the only quality option that you could afford. So great guitar. If you see one of these used, new, whatever, just get them. They're a great guitar to have in your arsenal. They're built like a frickin' tank. It stays in tune really well, and it sounds fantastic. Wonderful guitar. So many of you know we have Produce Like a Pro Academy. It's a huge community. It's about 4,500 people now. It's really absolutely amazing. And people help each other out, and they download multi-tracks and do recordings, and it's just a really wonderful place. And we get people writing to me all the time. Look, can you pass me that, please, Eric? I just got this today, well, actually 2 days ago, to be. And it's from Nicky Wilson. He got back into music through the YouTube videos and through the community, and had recorded an album and sent it to us. I get lots and lots of these. I'm not sure if we should do this every single week, but thank you, Nicky, for sending this. I really, really appreciate it. I will put this on and listen to it. So it's really wonderful when people reach out and they recognize our incredible community for helping them achieve some of their dreams. But here's a big one. So one of our Academy members is Kenji. And Kenji just sent us this. Kenji says, about 3 weeks ago, I won 2 regional Emmy Awards for a virtual Christmas concert I produced and mixed last year. Plapper is pretty much the only training and schooling I've had for audio production. And the skills I've learned and continue to learn from Warren and the community have been so helpful in my development. I make a living primarily as an orchestral French horn player, but during COVID, all that disappeared. It was my audio production work that was able to sustain me through the pandemic. And now that things have returned to normal, I can say that I'm doing financially better than ever with my performing and production work. Thanks so much for being a great resource. Many thanks, Kenji. First of all, Kenji, thank you ever so much. And I did reach out to Kenji and ask if it was okay to mention him. We're really blessed to have an incredible community here. We try to cover everything about the business. I know there's lots of people that teach the idea of not just mixing, but also, running businesses. Well, the reality is like 99% of the equipment in here, with a couple of notable exceptions, but 99% of the equipment in here I bought from doing music my whole life. And that's what we continue to do. And we're truly, truly blessed. So having this community is really incredible because we get to share all of our stories. We get to learn from each other. And Kenji is a fine example of somebody in our community who has achieved their goals. I mean, winning a couple of Emmys is pretty huge, to say the least. So congratulations, Kenji. If you haven't already checked out the Academy, please do down below. There's a link down below. There is a massive summer sale at the moment, so you can get in at half price. So please check it out. Well, talking of building community, here's a good question. What are your top tips on building your musical network to progress an ambition of making a living in the industry? All right. Well, first of all, I could do a quick salesman and say, go and join the community. Obviously, that works. However, the reality is like, yes, get yourself into a good community. In a way, find other people to work with. Working online has completely changed the business, not just because of the pandemic, but before that. 99% of our work was still done remotely. I've mixed many tracks over years now where I've never met the artist. I've spoken to them on the phone, I've emailed with them, and maybe I met them at NAMM or something like that. But 99% of the time, I'm not meeting the artist of tracks we mix. And then even tracks we record, quite often, especially when I'm playing a lot of the instruments, we'll just have the singer come down and sing. And maybe we'll work on the track together, on acoustic guitar, fill it out, and then I'll play the instruments and maybe they'll add one instrument or two. My point is like you can work so much more remotely. So you might say, how does that help? Well, that helps because now there is no barrier to entry. If the singer you're working with and you're building tracks doesn't ever come to your apartment or your bedroom or wherever you are or your fancy studio, then you don't have to impress them with the gear. But what you can impress them with is your music, the music you create. And this is one of the biggest hurdles. And I get 400 emails a day with questions on music. But this particular one is quite frequent. It is, but Warren, I don't have a U87. I don't have a Neve mic pre. People are worried about that stuff. And as you know, we continually do demos using our little ID44 that's sitting over there. When we do all of our live streams, it's all through the ID44. Are you recording through it at the moment? Yep. He's recording through it at the moment. So we use inexpensive gear. We have a Sovtech mic, which is a little bit more expensive, but we've had the Lewitt 340 pointing up here many, many times. We've had $200 microphones. We've had whatever. My point is it doesn't have to be expensive equipment. I know you've heard me say it 1,000 times, but it is all about creativity. And now with virtual instruments and with the plugins that we have available that can do all kinds of incredible things, there's not really any excuses not to make great music. So you've heard all of that. Now, to answer the question directly, now that we have that precursor out of the way, it's just about building relationships and being good to people and responding to their emails and learning how to communicate well and sort of sell yourself by not selling yourself. What I mean is like care about the person. When somebody sends you a song to listen to it and come up with some constructive advice or some compliments, something you like about it. Connect to it. Find something in the music that inspires you to connect them. That will get you the work. Because as an artist, I can tell you, when you send somebody a song and they don't listen to it or don't respond, it's a horrible feeling of rejection. And just listening to 1 minute of somebody's song, and as you're listening, writing some notes and responding is a huge thing. Many people will never even listen to 30 seconds of a song. And I know I get hundreds of songs and I try my best to get through them, but things fall through the cracks. And it is unfortunate. So if you're building yourself up and building your career and you're getting 1 or 2 songs a week, then sure as heck, get stuck in there and respond and build a community. Okay, so look at your local area. Find out, is there bands playing? I think bands are starting to play live again. Go down and see some local bands. Go in there, offer to record them for free, offer to mix one of their songs for free. And if they like the one song, say, okay, let's work out a price to mix the rest of your EP, the rest of your album, whatever it might be. Get yourself out there. I know there's so many rich and famous mixers and producers that say never work for free. Well, the point is like I worked for free for years building a resume and building a skill set. Now, I didn't starve myself by doing it. I had balance. I got paid to do work. But if I loved a band, if I loved a singer, I would put myself out and make sure that I did some incredible work with them. Should you do that 99% of the time? Heck no. But should you get paid to do work and then cherry pick a couple of artists that you really believe in? Great. Get a contract in, at least in an email form, of what you're going to do for them, how much time you're going to spend. Don't do a never ending, don't worry, we'll just do the album. And 5 years later, you're still making a record. You do not want to do that. You should offer up a certain amount of time and say that, you want to do a song with them, write and produce a song with them, mix a song with them, put guitars on a song of theirs, master a song, whatever it is. Just define it, put it down on something that you won't kill yourself on time, put it down in writing, in an email, and agree to it and do it. And as you're building up work, maybe you do less of the free stuff. But the reality is like you're always going to find somebody talented you want to work with who may or may not have budget. So even more so, let's get to the kind of the last hinging point on this. You have to get yourself out there. You need a website, even though websites are passé, even though Facebook is passé. Young people don't use Facebook like the over 40s do. They just don't. However, you still want to have a Facebook presence. Even though people won't go to your website every single day, it doesn't matter. Still have a website. They're simple to do. And then, of course, have an Instagram. Have a SoundCloud where the work you put is on. And I know you can get all the people going, well, SoundCloud's audio quality is not that good. I get it. But if somebody's on SoundCloud listening to your music and somebody else's, everybody's at the same disadvantage. So get some music up on SoundCloud. There's tons of people who have become successful by working and putting their music up on SoundCloud. These are all things you need to do. And don't be afraid to be rejected. Write to people and say, I love your band, would love to work with you. I can mix a song, master a song, whatever. Offer some services. And just be prepared to write 40 emails and maybe get 4 back. If you get 1 in 10 response, great. But you can't hang your hat up on one particular opportunity. You have to create lots and lots of opportunities for yourself. You have to be entrepreneurial with this stuff. You have to reach out to people. You have to really try hard to break out of your shell. The great thing is, though, even as an introvert, you can still work in this business because this is all done on email. And maybe you'll get on the phone. But the point is like, by the time you get on the phone, you may have had some communication and understanding via email. Get yourself out there. It's a different world. It's an easier world to get work in that respect. But you have to be persistent and you have to realize that, like I said, it might not be 4 out of 40. It might be 1 out of 40. It might be 1 out of 100. You just don't know, but you've got to get yourself out there and try and bang down some doors, kick down some doors, get people to take notice of you. The other thing you can do is if you are in a decent sized town or city that has a recording studio, go in and intern there, go in and assist. You don't have to do 7 days a week and like 12 hours or 15 or 18 hours a day. Maybe go in there for a few days a week. We have interns here that overlap. And it's not a bad idea. Then nobody's getting exploited, but everybody's getting a little bit of an opportunity and they're getting to see how things work. That's another thing you could do. Eric, what did you do? You interned for like 1 day and then 2 days and then 3 days and then because he was going to school. And he sort of like interned in between going to school for music production. And he's developed into like at a point where it's like, oh, I suppose we have to pay this guy because if we don't pay him, he'll get another job. He became invaluable. It can be done. So I know it's scary. I know it's a big, wide world out there. And I know that sometimes you switch on YouTube and you're just inundated with people talking about how everybody's a genius. And I get the other main email I get is, oh my God, I don't understand all this technical stuff. I don't know. I'll never be successful in the music industry. Well, you know what? Forget all of that. For every, incredibly clever, blah, 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 multi-million-dollar recording with incredible session players, for every one of those, there's about 10 groundbreaking, like independent artists. The Beatles were signed to Parlophone. It is a comedy label. It's a comedy label. It's the only label that would sign them. The best label for them in the time would have been Decca. Decca turned them down. They signed to a comedy label. They were the first musical artists. The Goons were on there. So, this whole idea that it has to be, flat five of the diminished blah, 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 and this guy played it. It's just, that's not how music's made. I've worked at labels out here, and I can tell you, nobody cares about that stuff. They just care about one thing and one thing only, the music. The music. How good is the music? And great music isn't necessarily made by expensive gear or geniuses that can, sing backwards with perfect pitch and blah, blah, blah. All of that stuff is a nice attribute, but I'm telling you, I have many, many friends that have perfect pitch. They're all pretty good musicians. Pretty good. It doesn't make them geniuses. So don't feel like all of this stuff is a big barrier to entry. Just get in there, feel empowered, make great music. I mean, some of my favorite songs are 3 chords. Some of the greatest songs are 3 chords. There's even a couple of amazing songs that are 2 chords. I mean, about... Working Class Hero, John Lennon. Pretty much any, sophisticated, blah, blah, blah musician would give their right, what, to have written Working Class Hero by John Lennon. So just remember that. The song is king. Creativity is king. The performance capturing emotion and feel is king. Those are all the things that are super, super important. Please don't be overwhelmed because, like I say, daily I get emails of people that are overwhelmed. Don't be overwhelmed because there is a lot of people in this industry that are listening out for that. They're excited and want to hear things that are edgy and different and are pushing the barriers. Wow, that was a very long answer, but I just feel like it's a bit of a theme, because I get so many emails about this. People, worried that they will never break into an industry and they won't be able to connect with people and they won't be able to build something because, of this sort of massive barrier to entry. The great thing about rock and roll, the great thing about music is that there is no barriers to entry when it comes to creativity. You can kick down doors by just having something incredible, but it's got to be incredible. So you need to work hard at that. Can perfect pitch be a hindrance? All of my friends that have perfect pitch would tell you yes. I have a drummer friend of mine, Dan. Hey, Dan, if you're watching, he has perfect pitch. It drives him absolutely nuts, playing drums in a band and hearing variations of tuning all around him. And he has to try and shut it out. John Entwistle famously had perfect pitch when he started. And he just said it was ruined by musicians in bands just being somewhat in tune. So, yeah. Can it be a hindrance? That might be too much of a statement to make. Can it be a hindrance? I think if you're in a controlled environment and if you maybe grew up with, music professor style parents and you had perfect pitch, they could probably help control your environment. But if you're a poor child and you don't have all of that, upper middle class lifestyle and you're born with, perfect pitch, and you don't have access to incredible instruments, and that could probably would frustrate the schnizzle out of you and anything in between. So I think it's definitely a very contentious issue. Do I wish I had perfect pitch? Of course I do. I would love to have a perfect pitch. I have great relative pitch, and I can hear when my guitar's in tune. I know when it's, not quite in concert because I'm so used to it. But I'm no genius. I don't pick out notes out of the air. Sometimes I do. It's weird. Sometimes I can be in a session and go, hey, you should have played the C sharp there. But I think that's my ear and also the education, because I know what keys the song is in. And I know, because in a relative way, what the note is they're playing, because I understand the relationships. Meaning, if we're in A, good old fashioned A, there's the major third, the C sharp. Even if I'm not playing it, I'll be going, play the C sharp. That's a combination of having a good ear with a good, good musical education. And I don't mean musical education as in book form, but as in playing music and recording music for decades. I've developed a good ear. My point is like, you can develop that too. When I started, I had no sense of pitch whatsoever. Absolutely none. It's all learned, it's all acquired, and it was all just hard work. So you can do it too. But yeah, that's a bit of a contentious one with that perfect pitch. I don't know. I think I would love to have it now that I have the acquired knowledge. But I think as a child, it probably would have driven me absolutely insane. Like my friend Dan, he said he has to try and tune it all out when he's playing, just hearing all these people slightly out of tune with each other. Thanks ever so much for watching. Please, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Check out Produce Like a Pro Academy. It's full of incredible people that help each other out. We're really blessed to have an incredible community. Have a marvelous time recording and mixing. Please leave any future comments and questions below. This is where we get the questions for the frequently asked questions. What guitar do you have? What inexpensive, great guitar do you have? Tell us maybe a little bit about that. So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, au revoir, adios, tschüss, goodbye.